UNPAVED, Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.
To me, Tom Brady is the GOAT because he's done more with less than any player at that position we've ever had.
All right, guys, welcome into UNPAVED. It's good to be with you. Super Bowl week and a lot going on. Grammy week, nobody gave a shit about that, especially if we have to hear politics as opposed to listening to music. But I digress. I need one of those days where you just disappear from life for 48 hours and you don't tell anybody where you're going, and then you just get back into it on like a Wednesday or Thursday. That's what I need from internet and doing this and this not going and that not going. Not to bitch. You guys all going through the same thing, but I'm going to bitch anyway because I don't do it much, but I'm going to today. Adam Sager will be along in a second. I'm Sean Salisbury. This is UNPAVED. Coach JB will join us as well for his regular Monday visit. We got a lot to discuss, but I think we've all had those days where it's like, what the fuck? Okay, I'll bring in Adam Sager now, because I don't want to dive too deep into that rabbit hole, because when you open up a show pissed, you very well might say something. Well, I won't regret it because it'll just be what I really wanted to say anyway. I don't have a rant about, about Bad Bunny. Oh, I do, but I don't have about the Super Bowl week in Media Row, which is going on. I'm glad I'm here as opposed to having to deal with that this week. From Grammys to football to coaches hired, we're going to hit all that, I'm quite sure. So I'm just going to tee it back to you, let you tee it up and roll. Great to be with you today. Happy Monday to you.
Yes, happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you. Everybody be safe out there. You got bigger problems than a lot of people do with your weather and stuff. So I hope it's a great day. And no bitch fest here, but man, those days when you wake up and say, "What in the?" And it started at about 3 a.m. That type.
Yeah,
of,
you just want to get back in bed and just sleep until you wake up and start the day.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure I'd be sleeping because I'd be staring at the ceiling. And if it could have been a pain in the ass, dude, I was doing another thing I had to do this morning, and like 3 minutes before I had to be on another thing, everything goes out. Come back, as you saw, there was no retweeting for me. Friend said I can't. Text never went through. Send it on a different email. No, I can't send it. I can't even turn my phone off. Dude, now I understand where I'm at. You think I'm bullshit. I can't turn my phone off. The fact that we are literally on there, and I wouldn't have been able. I'd had to go through I would have had to leave my house, go find somewhere to hopefully find a way to get a hold of you guys and say I can't get on here, because for the last 90 minutes or 45 hour and 15 minutes I haven't been able to. And at 11:58 or 11:55, I come on here and do this. So it's great to be on, man. This is actually the good part of the day. So good to be here. Dude, I can't turn my phone off.
Normally it's your bitch because phones just turn off for no reason.
Right. Dude, I can't turn my phone off. Okay. Till I redo it. So now I got to go do that afterwards to make sure, because I had about an hour's worth of business meetings I had to do this morning. Couldn't get on those either. So as I bitch, and everybody's probably saying, Sean, I feel you, dog. Been through it. So let's get to the stuff that matters real quick, Segs. I know we got a lot to talk about. It's great to be with you. I know you were in a little bit of storm this weekend. Before we get to JB, how's everything going there? And your Wolverines took care of their business against Michigan State in big fashion too.
Yeah. The first half was great for the Wolverines. Beginning of the second half, Michigan State made their run.
Made a run.
Going to. And then the last 8-9 minutes of the game, Michigan kind of took back control and took over the game. Yeah, as far as the weather goes here, I sent you guys that picture of the huge snowstorm that hit us like out of nowhere. We weren't even, they said, oh, maybe some lake effect snow. And then all of a sudden I look outside at about 4:00-ish on Friday. And I mean, the snow's coming down like a sheet of snow, just crazy. And it went on for a good 3-4 hours. Had to snow blow and shovel and everything. And it was about 3 degrees at this time too. So bundled up, got it all done, and just in time to sit down and watch that Michigan State game.
There you go. Well, good enough. I'm glad it worked for you. We got a lot to discuss. I'm gonna bring in JB at the Real Coach _JB with us now, and LaFleur gets hired by Arizona. JB, I'll start there before we get into some Super Bowl talk real quick. I mean, from Kevin O'Connell to Liam Cohen to, I mean, everybody that seems to take on this gig, being an assistant coach or a coordinator with like the McVay tree himself, ends up going on and taking care of his business. Good hire, JB. First off, before we get to this, did you watch the Grammys last night? I know you were just thumbing your nuts watching the Grammys because that's your favorite show of the year.
Do you know the black sailfish travels 82 miles an hour in the ocean?
The black sailfish travels 82 miles an hour in the ocean. I do now. I did not know that.
Fastest fish in the water. Because I was going 55 and it fucking smoked right past me, and I was like, what the hell is that? And I found out it was a black marlin.
Now, what does that have to do with Bad Bunny?
Because Bad Bunny and black marlin are kind of the same thing. They rhyme with hey, they, may.
Oh, okay. Now I get where you're headed. So
one's happy. One's happy.
Yeah.
We say, yeah, fish happy. It's gay. It's gay. Gay's happy. So I love that. Yeah. And then the other guy is that for the other reason.
How was your show this morning, by the way? What did you guys open with today, JB?
Lack of black was the thumbnail.
Lack of black. Are we talking because of, let's see, I saw lack of black meaning, I'll let you explain.
The coaching hires.
Oh, I got it.
There you go. There's my thumbnail right there. So to answer your question, no, it's not a good hire. I don't get the hires. I don't get what's going on, Sean. I'm going to be honest with you. So we're hiring first-time guys, just throwing shit at the wall like that one pitch that my buddy threw you in prevailing winds back in La Jolla back in the 70s.
Del Mar, to be exactly. No, it was in the 80s, and you know what happened to that baseball, don't you?
Yeah, Pat Fresno.
Into the prevailing wind, about 450 into the prevailing wind. Tape measure job. But who the fuck's counting? Okay.
Pat Perez and I still talk about it every day because you told us for about 8 hours that day. So we were like figuring it out. So I'm trying to figure out. We're just throwing shit at the wall, see if it sticks on hiring these first-year guys and passing guys like Raheem Morris, who won his last 5 and has proven that he's pretty damn, been in this game a long time. Super Bowl defensive coordinator for the Rams. Eric Weddle talks about him in a high regard, and I don't know, Sean. I don't understand what's going on. I broke it down. I'm tired of beating the dead horse, but I think we're lacking development in coaching, period. Whether the color, it doesn't mean anything with the color to me. But I'm just surprised that you really didn't have one hire out of 10 that was a black guy this year, even though we fired 3 and they didn't rehire any of them. Raheem just got on as a DC for the Niners. I don't know, man. I think nepotism still runs high. LaFleur's little brother. McVay carries the most weight in football right now. His tree is obviously getting more jobs than any other sitting head coach. And I think it's because, Sean, he won a Super Bowl at such a young age. Yeah, such a young age. He was hired at 31, youngest head coach. He just turned 40 and almost was at his 3rd Super Bowl already. Look at his tree here. I think they're taking Sean McVay guys or nepotism guys from other places over the older head just because of what this guy's done in such a quick time. I think they're enamored with, bring him on over. We played him twice in the Arizona Cardinals. We play him twice a year. Maybe we can do what he's doing over the experienced guy. That's where I'm at with it. I think they're just throwing shit at the wall.
Well, I think it's completely that. It's no disrespect to who LaFleur, Matt and Mike and Kevin O'Connell and Hell, what Zach, I mean, the list goes on and on. Liam Cohen, all of them about, and it's hard to argue with the LaFleur success and McVay's success, and notwithstanding this year, Kevin O'Connell's 14 wins last year, and Liam Cohen getting his team into the playoffs and then becoming a Super Bowl threat in the playoffs as well. So can't argue success with those guys. Not Mike LaFleur, because this will be his first head coaching job. But I'm with you on this 100%, JB. I firmly believe when you go through the interview process that you're not in there when you fall under McVay, that McVay, Shanahan, that group of guys we're talking about. I don't believe, JB, that they're bringing you in to hire you to look for reasons not to hire you. I mean, I believe they going in, you got the job unless you fuck it up. Not the other way around. I believe because of the reputation and, well, look what happened. And all a guy like Liam Cohen did and O'Connell last year is add to that intrigue of everybody that leaves Sean McVay's tree seems to have success, right? Zach Taylor was part of the McVay thing, and guess where he had his team in a Super Bowl a couple of years after that, right, with Burrow, right, JB? So we're looking at a lot of the same things. So I think going in, they've got this premeditated idea, even before the interview starts, that we'll have the same success as McVay or the other guys do.
I think,
and then you got to really screw up the interview. I think they get the gig going in, as well as not the other way around. When you go in, you got to do everything to convince them why you're worthy of it. I think you're trying to convince them why you're not, even though nobody's trying to do that. They're looking for those reasons. So, and I think a lot of it is Sean McVay gives you an endorsement. You got a real good chance of getting a job.
I think it's this. I called you and I said, this is the guy, and it's his job unless you say he fucks up. Unless he fucks the interview up. Hey, Sean, this is McVay. Mike LaFleur is the next big-time guy. All right, thanks, Sean.
Well,
appreciate it.
I got you, man.
He goes to interviews, and it's his job. It's his job to lose.
As long as he follows the processes, of getting up and his presentation to the owner and the general manager, he'd have to do a lot to screw that up. It doesn't seem like those guys. Well, who's missed out on a job?
Unless you're Cleveland and you have to take the Wonderlic and the IQ test and the fucking interview about what. Well,
we want you to look at right angles and how a right angle comes into play, and this triangle and this square here. What's next in the?
I heard one of the questions.
Square, circle, triangle, square, circle. Yeah, the assessment test.
I heard one of the questions was the one that you and I took to get it, that you took to get an SC. It said you're traveling 60 miles an hour on a train, and the train ahead of you is traveling at 400 miles an hour. And for you to pass it by, how fast do you have to go in the next 90 minutes to reach 28 miles? Go, Sean. What's the answer to that?
I don't know right now. I know I answered it right then because I had a good score, but what is it? What is the score? I need a calculator to redo that though. So.
If you can answer that, you can be a fucking NFL head coach, I guess.
Or Einstein, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's or I understand a calculator. Yeah, but I'm not sure I need that to coach my team. But hey, apparently the Cleveland Browns, which they just seem to, listen. I don't know. Can you lead men? But I guess you got to be able to. If you can count to 4 and count to 11 and count to 45, you should be pretty good.
How many females got interviewed? How many females got interviewed this cycle, you think?
I'm going to say not very many. Okay.
Surprising.
I'm going to say not very many. So the LaFleur thing, it begs, the enemy back with Kansas City, not been a head coach. He beat.
Not the play caller,
Yeah. Right. Oh, Andy's always been that. Brian Flores still at Minnesota as a defensive coordinator in New Deal.
That's the deeper discussion right there. Are these owners are they just strictly business guys? I mean, 32 of them, there's no real football guys in here other than Jerry Jones having played at Arkansas, etc. Other than that, the owners really have no football experience. They're businessmen, we know.
They're giving assessment tests, the same assessment test you'd give some mid-manager that you want or a person you're hiring in your sales department. Say, well, if this is this and this, you got a square, a triangle, and a circle. And then 2 squares, 2 triangles, 2 circles. And then you start to see how it goes. And you go back and, well, how would you start? And you're going through it like the analytical side of it, which is important. But I'm looking for different things when I'm hiring a coach as opposed to an assessment test isn't for everybody. An assessment test and what they're going through isn't how I'm trying to find leaders of men and how to coach a football team. Although you're exactly right, JB. Their path to get to that is the way they got to their path, unless they got money handed down to them. Is the business part of it, not understanding the relationship part of it. It's not just, paycheck, bottom line money for the company. When it comes to coaching, there's a lot of things that go into it. As you well know, you've been a head coach, that go into leading a team, and how fast your train gets by another train, how fast it's got to be going. If it's going 400 miles an hour, has zero to do with understanding it's 3rd and 1. Are we fucking going for it or not? What play are you calling?
Well, that's why they're hiring these guys, in my opinion. They're the analytical spreadsheet guys. They're not football guys, and that's the problem. That's who they're hiring. Mike McDaniel, all these guys we continue to see get hired in these cycles, and then the old guys are being let out. Mike Tomlin's probably done. Belichick, they won't even let him in the Hall of Fame, a little less win his 17th game to take over the all-time wins record. They won't even let the old school guys in here. The other guys are out. McCarthy's back in at 62, I guess. Monken at 62's in. But are they really the guys now that are the asshole Bill Parcells, Belichick's? Are they the Tomlins? Are they the real ass kickers that we once grew up watching coach and lead men? No, these aren't the guys.
Right. But your common theme among all those, JB, is how you started this segment. Every single one of them's white.
Every single one of them. And I think that's a developmental issue because we hire young black coaches, and I've done this my whole life. And
there's a lot of assistants, right? They're developed to give them a chance to be the coordinators that they should be, correct?
Unfortunately, they're
especially offensive coordinators.
Yes, and they're the talent tamers. They're the talent tamers. We hire young brothers. We hire young Polynesians now. They've had a fad about the last 5 years. We're hiring poly guys to get the poly O-line, D-line guys. What happens is you hire them to not only recruit and be your best recruiter, then you hire them to make sure you tame the talent. I don't want to get your issues on my head coach's desk, blah, blah, blah. The problem with that is, Sean, as you know, we work 20-hour days as grinders, and there's no time to get better as a head coach, whether it's interview processes, how to run a program, how to recreate a culture, how to recreate an environment, how to set the tone. You're running around doing someone else's job plus 10,000. So then you don't have a chance to get better. And I tell you, I've been talking about this for 20 years. I've seen it my own eyes. This is what happened. And then you go and interview a Phillip Rivers, who's never coached ever at any college or pro level, high school, of course. You hire a guy like that, or a Michael Vick who never coached, or a Deshaun Jackson who never coached because of their name, Eddie George and all these guys. You hire those guys when there's guys like myself that you and I know 1,000 guys who have been getting the coffee for Bill Belichick and Nick Saban for 30 years and have grinded and have done all the things necessary that we were told to do to move up in the profession. Now we're just getting Phillip Rivers getting an interview, and my ass can't even sniff an interview, and I'm the one grinding out here, bleeding, crying, and sweating, but Phillip Rivers jumps me. That's the problem that coaches that I talk to every day have with this thing that's going on now. That's the issue. It's kind of a slap in our face.
That coach, the real coach, JB, underscore JB. Do you think, JB, that there's anything to, and I've thought about this, and I just saw this, it helped remind me of what I was thinking about over the weekend, not on the black-white thing, but coaching hires in general. Are we at the point now that, because it's happening with, how the money and guys will just up and leave in college because they got beat out and want more money, you know how that goes. Are we to the point that we're hiring coaches to be the buddies of these guys, that discipline has become a problem in the NFL, that head coaches and these players are, I can't ever imagine calling Tom Landry Tom. But now I have a hard time thinking that the backup tight end calls Mike LaFleur coach. Does that make sense? Maybe I'm wrong. They should. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I just feel like, are we too friendly with our players these days? Now, I'm not talking about building good relationships, but if we got too emotionally tied to the friendship as opposed to the coaching discipline that goes on, and they're looking for guys that they went out and had a beer with in college, and then 2 years later that they're working with them. Mike LaFleur's a good football man. I don't know if he was the best candidate for Arizona. I wasn't in the meeting room. There's a lot of other good candidates that probably been in it a lot longer. But if you're Mike Tomlin and you wanted to be interviewed by Arizona and didn't, that'd be a problem for me because he gives you a lot more chance to win early on with the discipline. Are we afraid of discipline, I guess, is my question to you, for our young players now? And our owners afraid to have a coach that's a hardcore guy because he's afraid that he'll lose guys and they'll lose the building if they're not kissing each other's ass?
Yeah, it goes back to this. You have 32 owners. I think other than Jerry Jones, no one has football experience. And then the problem is, wouldn't you think if that was a billionaire guy that doesn't know the space but just has the money to buy the product, would hire guys that know the product? Why is there 30 of 32 GMs that never played football either? Like, they're hiring guys that don't even know fucking football. Like, what are we doing here? And then you hire a coach, and you wonder why you're firing coaches in a year or two and hiring horrific ones that can't manage the player-empowered, led locker room that you're mentioning. We hire guys now that have to be their buddy over the guy that needs to tell them right or wrong. You either coach it or allow it, Sean. That's never going to change in this profession. And unfortunately, we're changing that. And now you're seeing what the product is becoming. Soft, player-led, enabled, entitled. That's all you see.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here thinking, and you go back to JB, the guys who were the owners. We don't vet owners that do you have a football background. They just vet owners who've got the most money to bid on it, on the team, which goes down to then they're hiring the business guy. Put it this way: I like analytics and I like feel, but we seem to be doing away with the way that coaching started. Think about Vince Lombardi, Woody Hayes, Bo Schembechler, Mike Tomlins of the world, disciplined guy who's win first, player, your need second, which is I don't think a bad thing. But I'm just going through. It has nothing to black or white. It has to do with discipline now too. As we went from not enough African Americans are getting interviewed. Period. That's just a fact. It's just a fact. And not enough African Americans are offensive coordinators. And we hire offensive coordinators more than we do defensive coordinators. Most of the time, we've had a few in this cycle to be head coaches. I think the numbers would bear that out for whatever reason. So it goes back to your developmental talk. But if all you're doing is keep hiring business people and that filters down to the GM, then filters down. Now, maybe a guy like Matt Ryan as the president starts to bring that back. But we're so caught up in the buddy thing and don't want to hurt a player's feelings that it feels like there's been a disengagement in a certain that the older coach or the more experienced coach, I mean like older, the more experienced coach, although McCarthy got hired and Monken, who's not experienced as a head coach, but you get my point is I just feel like we are so into catering to the player. And then eventually if the player says no, they can run the coach out. And the younger the coach, even if he's good and is a yes man to the owner and kind of a yes man at times to the player, that he's got a better chance at shelf life than a guy or at least at getting an interview than a guy who's been doing it for 25 years. I was actually shocked Mike McCarthy got the job, although I thought it was Mike's a good coach, right? He's got a Super Bowl. You could have I was just shocked that Pittsburgh put him at the top of their list after what's gone on, yet he's a Pittsburgh guy, so I get it. For me, I just think that we lack, and the development is the way to go. And the NFL doesn't want to tell you that, though, JB. They're going to tell you, well, we hired 5 assistants on each team that are either younger or older or African-American or of a different than a white guy, or this guy's been in the league a while and he's earned his stripes. But earning your stripes at 35 is a little different than earning your stripes at 60 or 58, right?
Sean, we both, the DEI hires and the things we've seen in the last 5-6 years, we're like, what are we doing? The equity shit and all that. It's also true that you can do two things can be true. You can also be so bad that you're trying to right the ship and you just continue to do the bad things. Like, so we go from DEI. Is that what we're doing? We're getting rid of DEI now, but we're doing nepotism hires. Like, we're robbing Peter to pay Paul here. How about we hire the best damn candidate that has a proven resume track record, that has experience leading men, whether it's a coordinator or has been a head coach. I'm surprised that Schwartz got left off a hiring process. Everyone that I know coached under him or played for him love him, and he's an ass kicker.
Who'd you say?
Jim Schwartz.
Oh, Jim Schwartz, no doubt. But JB, he might be a little too harsh for some of these guys because he's not a yes man.
That's what I'm saying.
He is not a yes man.
But you hire a guy like, Mayo, and you fire him in 1 year. And now Vrabel has this team basically in the Super Bowl already, just 1 year removed. But then the Jets go through coach after coach after coach, and then they choose to keep probably the worst coach team I've ever seen in Aaron Glenn. So, see, that's the problem. I look at Aaron Glenn, if I'm a hiring process, and I go through and I say, all right, the best, if we're looking at, okay, why do we have the lack of black coaches this cycle? Aaron Glenn's not helping this cause. Because now I'm like, who's actually going out there saying, damn, we got to find the next Aaron Glenn now. Well, he's horrific.
Well, nobody is, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, no owner's looking at. So now you got Sal is the only. I don't know what do you want to call him, minority hire this cycle, other than Mike McDaniel as a coordinator. So McDaniel got passed by. Raheem got passed by. Flores, this blows my mind. He's still not in the mix. He's going back.
I don't know how. See, I think people are afraid of Brian Flores.
They are.
Management. I do. I think he's too. I think he's, and I love him. I think look at the results he gets in Minnesota, wherever he is. I think Brian Flores' personality is too threatening to the guys above him, I heard a problem with that.
And I heard. See, I would have loved to see Monken as the coordinator for one of the Harbaughs, because I think
he would have been had he not taken this job.
And that's what's crazy. At 62 years old, you see, we as football coaches, as head coaches, we age like the sitting president. Like, have you seen Shanahan versus when he took the job in Frisco till now? Have you seen his bags under his eyes?
And the gray hair and
he looks bad as Obama did.
Football's taking its toll on Kyle.
And I think it takes it all. Now we want to see a 62-year-old Mike McCarthy and a 62-year-old Monken take those jobs when they could be actually mentoring and helping young coaches become better OCs. So we're hiring OCs as their first head job. By the way, Seattle just their OC going into a Super Bowl. I hope it doesn't cost Seattle, because we've seen the coaches be hired before during a Super Bowl run get hired, and now they're not both feet in that Super Bowl, as Gannon wasn't against Philadelphia, and Andy Reid absolutely blitzed them a couple years back. And then he took over in Arizona. He's already been fired as the head coach. We've seen Josh McDaniel leave coordinator roles in New England with great success, as he's having again right now. Horrific head coach in Denver and in Vegas. So it doesn't work.
One of the best offensive coordinators we've ever had, judging by results.
Sean, Charlie Weiss was one of the best. He was horrific head coach. Horrific. Bill O'Brien, horrific for the most part head coach.
But a good football guy. It's crazy. Yeah. You're right.
Coordinating's not bad in the NFL, by the way, people. Being a good coordinator is a pretty damn good job in the NFL. I don't understand why we continue. So the Philadelphia Eagles hire a guy who I know personally, coached there, played at Oregon State for a good friend of mine, Jonathan Smith, and then he got bounced around the NFL as a journeyman. He just retired in 23, becomes a quarterback coach in Green Bay. And Sean, quarterback coach in Green Bay, and now he's a coordinator, and now he'll get a head job in 2 years. Mark my words. He'll be the next head coach somewhere in 2 years.
And JV, if he goes and dominates this year and brings them back to a Super Bowl caliber offense, he may get a job next year after 1 year experience. Think about the four hardcore, just guys that come from a top that are tough. I'm not saying these got Mannion, and like I said, if Sean Mannion interviewed, great, I get it, but he doesn't have enough skin in the game to be interviewed before Monken would have as an offensive coordinator, even though he's now a head coach. Think about these names. We mentioned Tomlin. I don't know how much Mike wants to coach this year. That I don't know. But Tomlin,
I think
Flores, Schwartz, Eric Bieniemy. What do four of those have in common? They are hardcore, in-your-face leaders of men that motivate and get after you and don't apologize for it.
And the other ones,
all four of them are either assistants or no head coaching situation.
And the two you left out that didn't get a sniff, not even as a coordinator, other than one, Brian Daboll, hard nose in your ass. He got no
old school.
He got no head interviews other than Vegas. And then Greg Roman, who's been known as a great offensive guy. I know him personally. He's I think he's one of the best in the world.
Well, Lamar started to get things going with Roman before Monken came in and did some great things as well.
And he's not coaching. So, like, there's a thing. Those are ass kickers in your face, demand greatness, coach it, don't allow it, blah, blah. And you hire a guy like this 28-year-old or whatever, a 29-year-old in Philly to handle Jalen Hurts and that roster of egotistical cats who Yeah. So when A.J. Brown goes and reads a book on the sideline when you haven't scored no points, how are you going to handle that, man?
Yeah, and here's my concern about that, JB. Is not that he's not a good X's and O's coach and doesn't know football. My concern is the first time one of those guys that's been in the league longer than he played and hops up into his grill in his kitchen.
Who are you?
Do you respect? Yeah, do you? And when people say that doesn't happen, your ass. It happens on a fucking daily basis in pro sports. Now it's happening in college and high school sports. Oh, who are you? I'm getting NIL. I make more money than you do. So the first time that happens and a cussing match happens on the sideline, and this guy calls 4th and 1 go route on a fade, and it's incomplete and falls out of bounds, and AJ's pissed, or somebody else is, then what? Then what? Do you feel, and I'm not even just talking about from player to coach to player, do you feel like you have enough skin in the game to fight back at the player? You're his subordinate and his boss. But the question is Sean Manning really going to tell A.J. Brown how to act on a sideline?
He's
or
not.
if Jalen Hurts gets pissed, that's it. All right. JB, coach at the Real Coach _JB here on Unpaved with us for his weekly visit. All right. If you had one major key for Seattle to win the game, what is it?
For Seattle to win the game, they're gonna run the football against a defense that's allowed 26 points in the playoffs this year. But I don't think New England's played a team with this much offensive talent or defensive talent. So I expect Seattle to kind of enforce their will from the jump, both on defense and offense. New England's offense has been pretty vanilla and
pedestrian lately
pedestrian
in the playoffs. Yeah.
And Drake May's had more turnovers and touchdowns. I think Sam Darnold's in the zone. I think he wins the Super Bowl. First SC quarterback to do so, which is crazy to me. He'll get it done. And I think they're going to impose their will up front, both sides of the football. I think they got the best front seven in football. I think they got the running game to keep Sam Darnold healthy. Sam Darnold don't have to throw it 45 times, contrary to belief, as you saw against the Niners, where he threw it 15 times. They don't have to do that. They can win both ways. I think New England can only win one way, and that's Drake May and Diggs and those guys getting going. They can't do it like Seattle can. So Seattle has many more ways. Yeah.
So New England, is there New England? I mean, is there, even if it's not the offense, I mean, does the defense have to have another out-of-body experience? Does Drake May have to match Sam play for play? How is New England going to combat the better team, which is Seattle, as far as roster goes right now?
I don't think New England can establish the run like they have. And I believe they had favorable weather, meaning bad weather, so they can run the football against other quarterbacks that just couldn't perform without Bo Nix in Denver. I don't think they win that game with Bo Nix playing, but I think that New England has to run the football, and I don't think they can on Seattle. That's the problem with New England. I don't think they can do it. See, Seattle can run the football and not have to pass, or they can pass and not have to run. I think they have the best of both worlds in this game, and it's not going to be a weather game here in California. It's going to be 70 damn degrees, as you know, right now. That's why I've been on my yacht lately chasing black marlins, is because the weather's so damn nice. While you guys are in this ice storm around the country, I'm on the water in January, and you know, Sean, that's the only reason it's hard to leave this shitty state. So
yeah. You ain't there for the politics or the good stuff there. I mean, the good stuff's the beach and good people. You ain't there for the leadership. I sure should tell you that in California.
No.
Ruined a great state. Hey, but I do think one thing we should keep an eye on in this game, and then I'll let you go. I got one more question for you, though, JB, is I think that New England's defense can pose a problem if they win on first down. I think they can. You want Sam to feel like he has to make throws. I love Darnold, and I hope there's in my heart saying, for Sam after what he went through to do this, but he's still got to go perform. Emotions don't mean shit for us in this game. He's got to go perform. But I think Vrabel's defense, Mike's been in these as a player, and he gets it. Now you got to go perform, because Mike doesn't get to make one tackle. I think the hidden gem in this is the New England Patriots defense to not have to have Drake May, like Sam doesn't have to throw it 35 times to win. It'll be interesting, and we'll be breaking it down all week, and you can catch it on JB's show. Heck, we might even sneak you in on Friday if we can, brother, for a final report. I'd like that if you don't mind doing that. All right, here's it. You're a general manager and an owner. You be both. Give me the first, just three things, and we'll go after this. The three things, since we're talking about the coaching cycle, lack of black coordinator being developed to be head coaches, the hiring cycle, that whole thing, buddy at times, who's qualified more than who isn't. Give me the 3 traits. I walk in as a head coach, the 3 things you have to have for that guy to be considered to judge. If he doesn't have these 3, you can't hire him. What are they?
Relationship. You got to be able to have a relationship with every single player on the roster.
But relationship doesn't mean kissing ass. It means relationship, the right relationship, correct?
Meaning that I can be a DB guy if you hired me as Aaron Glenn, but you better be able to go MF the O-line and buy him a hamburger. That's a hard thing to do when you're on that side of the football for so long and you're only stuck in that DB world. Can I relate to the O-line? Can I relate to those guys that dip tobacco and spit and you nasty? That's a problem with a lot of guys.
The church guy and the guy who motherfucks everybody. Can you handle all of that, right?
They can't
translate.
translate.
Such a melting pot of personalities, right? All right, what's number 2?
Can't translate. Number 2 is the it factor. You better be able to dissect and dilute and put out fires and put out every single possibility when you sit in this chair. That means admin,
on and off the field,
GM, owner, media, assistants, coaches, because we're only as good as our assistants, Sean. And at the end of the day, you better hire the right ones. And then at the end of the day, you better be able to be proficient at something. If you're a great CEO and leader of all men, your third thing, you better be proficient at something, special teams, defense, or offense, because you need to put that strong suit on that thing and then hire guys that are better at than you are at the other thing. And then you got to manage that, massage it all in a ball, and take little pieces from all these other people and put it into your whole new recipe and create the winning one. And that is what the head coaching job needs to do. And you better lead, Sean. Leaders create more leaders, not followers. They better be able to get those guys to run through a wall for you. No matter what you say, Sean. Well, no matter what you say, it could be wrong, Sean. But if I say it and you believe it, guess who wins the game? The players, not the coaches.
Well, JB, to end on this thing here, as a quarterback, I've had a play come in. You got guys chirping about, hey, man, give me the ball in between plays, right? I've had plays sent in that down in distance and against a certain defense, it's gold. But they don't believe in it, so it doesn't work. They wanted something else. And I've had plays sent in, you say, this has 0 shot against this defense. And somehow, some way it works, because that buy-in and believability, which goes with leadership hand in hand, is a monster part of it. And if you can't lead men and then manage tasks, and there is a difference, then this job's probably not for you. So the cycle continues as we let JB go. Clint Kubiak appears to be the favorite with the Raiders, and he'll have the first pick of the draft and some money at his, if it happens, some money in his palms to go out and the palm of his hand to go out and pay. And again, you know where Clint comes from? Gary, great coach. Gary, Denver. Mike Shanahan. The circle of that tree continues with the Shanahan McVay group, as it looks like another Kubiak will be hired.
Kubiak's 6th job in 6 years.
Concern you?
Let that sink in.
To hire as a head coach and concern you?
Not one of them has been a head coach. This is his first head job.
Discuss it more. Yep. You want to join us Friday, brother? We'll get you back for your prediction. I'll wait till then. Great stuff. Get on that thing and be careful of that Marlin. Don't let it get you. Bring Segs back in. Interesting stuff, Segs, when you look at the hiring cycle and JB's approach. And it's been a problem every year, but it doesn't start it here. I always believe that it starts with who are you hiring as the 2 main gigs, your offensive and defensive coordinators as you develop them. And it's simple. Like I said, I don't approach Segs and you've known me for a long time. I don't care what it is. My hiring, if I'm hiring, I'm going through, can you make our team and our players better? Can we win with you? Listen, if a woman walks into the room and she's the best, she may not be in coaching because she's not been able to grow in this business only till the last, decade, and we started to implement more females as assistants. But, and this isn't a politically correct thing, but my point is, Segs, you walk into the room with no experience and you get up there on that board and you show me that here's how we win and I believe in it as the owner, then hell, if you can convince me to buy in, I'll buy in. So it has 0 to do with background, religion. I don't care. Can you fit in? Can you lead? and can you help us win? But we are not doing a good enough job from an assistant. We're passing over assistants that may be qualified to be coordinators because they got a buddy or somebody else from somewhere else that is. So we're not doing enough to elevate assistant coaches to coordinator jobs that aren't white. We're just not. We're just not. And there are some. It's getting better, but you look at the hiring cycle. Is it? That's something you'll have to ask yourself. So as we move forward, the one thing is I just don't know how we just don't. If you're the best candidate and you give us a chance to win, apparently Arizona thinks that Mike LaFleur of all the coaching candidates is the best one. I don't know why they waited so long. They haven't been in the playoffs. They should have jumped out in this in front. If they were waiting on Mike, fine. But it doesn't feel this late. Now, this is no disrespect to Mike LaFleur. It doesn't feel like this late that it was your number one choice. Does that make sense? Something we can visit as we roll along. But I root for all these guys to succeed. But the odds are that half these dudes that got hired this year will be fired the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it's the most interesting thing to me with the LaFleur hire is what do they do with Kyler Murray? And that's something, as the offseason gets going after the Super Bowl this week, we'll start hearing talk of, okay, they're looking to trade Kyler Murray. And we've heard whispers of that, but you never know when a new coach comes in, what his mind is thinking, what, his plan is, that maybe he thinks he's got the game plan for Kyler Murray to become good. Because remember, while he's not coaching against him per se, he's watched him 2 times a year when the Cardinals play the Rams. So staying in that division will make it interesting. But Sean, for you, what do you think about Clint Kubiak with your Raiders? They got the first overall pick, most likely going to be Fernando Mendoza. Do you like the hire or the supposed going to be hire of Clint Kubiak for Fernando Mendoza and the offense?
I think he's done a hell of a job as a coordinator and kicking ass. I do. Segs, I do. Boy, he looks, it doesn't fall far from the tree. He looks exactly like his pops, brother. Because his dad played by He looks exactly, and his dad was a hell of an assistant and a really good offensive coordinator and a really good head coach. Segs, I don't know. The name, if we're talking about DNA and name, I'd say, yeah, he knows something about football. And I've watched his execution with what he's done, with his job and taken and continued to elevate players that have come to him. But he is a really good offensive coach. He is. He loves the run game, just like his old man did. And where did that come from? The commitment from Shanahan when he was a player, Gary, and as a coach, that it's so important. I know we talk about it, but others talk about it, but the Kubiaks have never abandoned it. Does that make sense? They want to do that and impose their will. So on the surface, yeah, I guess it's a good hire. And I don't mean that as offensive or saying I've known his pops for a long time and watching Clint go up from an assistant with him and moving up the ladder as an assistant coach. And he served his time, and maybe it's time as far as an assistant say, okay, with all these different jobs, JB mentioned 6 and 6 years as an assistant, does he deserve the interview? Of course. But whether you hire him or not, that's why it's always a bummer that we don't get to hear how they respond to questions, right? That would be great. If we ever got to the point, Segs, how we do what's that thing called on HBO or Showtime?
Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks. If we took Hard Knocks into the coaching hire question process, if we we're interviewing people walking up and down fairways now and in the middle of a game, we're taking a coach's, it's crazy. And they may not be telling you much, but wouldn't it be awesome if an owner finally said, you're going to be privy to every interview. So we show you the process we're going through. So they're not different questions for different people. You get my point, Segs?
Right.
Wouldn't that be great TV? So I don't know how he obviously, he sure interviews well to get on a staff and has proven that he knows how to coach offensive football. So, but any of us that say, we jump out and say, oh, this guy sucks. I don't know, Segs. I really don't.
Right. Now,
I would have thought Aaron Glenn was going to be a little bit better. Now, that franchise and that team, they suck all the way around. But Aaron didn't do anything as a longtime guy in this league to take the 5 and make him a 7 this year. Now, I don't know if it's on him or just they got shitty players and it filters upward. We're swimming upstream to the front office and the people who are drafting guys, right? But I just, with Kubiak, I don't know, Segs. I don't know what kind of leader he's going to be, how vocal or what he's going to be. I know his resume says productive, and has done some great things as an offensive coach. And he comes from nepotism DNA. He comes from good DNA as far as a guy who's been successful. And I'm sure the guys he's been with would say, yeah, hire Clint Kubiak. But I just hate that I can't listen in on how do he respond, what they ask, what's the difference between him, why him and not Monken the first time, or why him and why not Brian Flores, why him and why, I mean, so I have these whys, and I just, you never really get the answer, because when you come out of it, you'll get an insight that says, yeah, he interviewed well, or he didn't interview well, or they loved it. But nobody on this planet knows how good Monken's going to be. We didn't know how good Belichick was going to be. We didn't know how good Sean McVay was going to be, because there was even questions like that is, he never been a coach. What are you doing hiring with the Rams?
Right.
And well, that worked. You're damn right. So I don't know. On the surface, I like it because I know this offensive team blows, and they got to elevate quarterback play, and they've got to be better. They've got to bring back a sense of toughness. That's my number one thing, Segs, aside from buying. The Raiders got to get tougher. I'd like 40 Max Crosbys on my team that play different positions. I really would. They got to get tougher. They built their reputation on clutch performance, retreads as players, and kicking ass and punching you in the mouth regardless, even if they got called a penalty. I want the Raiders to be a great team that leads the league in penalties. When people say that's the dumbest, I don't mean lead the league in stupid penalties. The Raiders used to come out and intimidate you on the first series, get a little personal foul call, and then discipline when necessary, but they always knew how to overcome it. I know it sounds like, Sean, you want them to be the most penalized team? No, because usually that doesn't work well for you, jumping off sides like Tunsil 4 times. I'm talking about penalties that matter, Segs, that send a message. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You kind of know where I'm going?
For sure.
And the Raiders have lost this sense of toughness and grind and become pretty and all the fuck that fluff. That's not how they won.
Right.
And I know there's different ways to win. But I don't know a team. These two teams we're playing, they're tough as hell in the Super Bowl. Don't be misled by all the pomp and circumstance and quarterbacks numbers and Drake May, Young, and the Vrabel's team and Mike McDonald's team are tough as shit. And for Clint Kubiak to go to the Raiders, he's going to need himself. So I don't know. I may be one of those analysts. I'm not a fence sitter. I don't know. I'm hoping if they hire him that it's right. I do know this, that if Mike Tomlin came in, I do know what I'm getting from him as a head coach. Whether he wanted to interview or not, that I do know. But there's always a question. It went on with Jacksonville and Liam Cohen. It went on with Mike McDaniel. It's going to go on with Monken, even though he's an older one. We kind of know what to expect with Mike McCarthy. I don't know if they're going to win, but you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm getting as a head coach, because now you're a CEO that has to do a whole lot, including what kind of coffee you're serving in the damn building, as opposed to doing what you do hands-on with that guy, with that offense every day. I don't know. Resume says he's worthy of an interview. We'll see if the toughness takes place and they are able to take it to a whole nother level with it. But we know they've rated for a reason, and Clint Kubiak is a smart guy who's got good DNA, and that goes with the nepotism JB was talking about.
Yeah, something we talked about last week. The Vikings firing their GM, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, and we kind of broke that down. You were wondering who was on the side of keeping Darnold, who was on the side of letting him go. We found out that from all reports saying that Kwesi was the one that wanted to let him go, draft J.J. McCarthy, or he drafted J.J. McCarthy the year before, but he
biggest mistake they made.
Yes,
biggest mistake they made, and Darnold validated that.
But we have some more details about Adolfo-Mensah that probably led to, even after the Darnold McCarthy situation, supposedly took 2 weeks off of paternity leave, and when asked around the league by coaches and other GMs, everybody was taken aback that he did that he took the full 2 weeks and didn't answer emails, nothing. He was completely gone for 2 weeks. Going down this list, he used Pro Football Focus as a big part of who he was drafting. He drafted 0 Pro Bowl players in 4 years. And why is it a big deal with the Pro Bowl thing? Because look how many players make the Pro Bowl. Ricochet Sanders just made the Pro Bowl, quote unquote, and he drafted 0 in 4 years. And then, to me, the big thing that goes along with the drafting part of 0 Pro Bowl players, he wasn't attending the Senior Bowl. He wasn't going to the Shrine Bowl. He wasn't going to college games all during the season. I mean, I can't speak for a lot of GMs, but I know damn near every weekend where Ryan Poles is, because there's people that, see him and Ian Cunningham, who just got the Falcons job. They would go to college games together, and they'd sometimes go to 2 or 3 games a weekend and just fly around Friday night, Saturday morning, and then Saturday night they'd go to games. Adolfo Mensa wasn't doing any of that. So, I mean, it's a bad look for him. I don't know why any other team would even look to hire him as an assistant GM, as a front office person. He's just not adding anything. And the fact he got a GM job is
the worst part of this.
The Vikings.
Yes, this is the worst part of this. What through the interview process did you see that said this guy's going to be a marvel for us?
Right.
He's going to be great. I'm going to tell you that he's a horse shit general manager. If this is all true, now we heard whispers about the paternity stuff and and about the quarterback situation, and the Aaron Rodgers thing was blatant. We heard whispers. There's nothing. Listen, as good as McCarthy is, it doesn't take a GM's expertise to figure out that having Darnold and Daniel Jones around, or not going to get Aaron Rodgers, that it was dumb to rely on a rookie, and then to get rid of those guys knowing the rookie hadn't played a snap, was going to be a rookie again. Not saying he wasn't going to be a good player, but he was not ready. And he proved it this year at times. He looked good, but like a rookie, even though he's a second-year guy playing in his rookie starting year, he had his ups and downs. Welcome to the NFL. He's a horseshit GM. He just is. First off, the second he doesn't show up, unless he's sick or some way otherwise afflicted, if this dude doesn't show up at the Pro Bowl, or not the Pro Bowl, but at the Senior Bowl and at the Combine and those things that you have to Shrine Game, the college games, to show up and scout, even just for presence and optics, if that was all he was going for, I'd have fired him the following year. He'd have been out. Number one, that tells me he's not passionate about the job. You can't do the job, even on the optics. You can't, because the second bad stuff creeps in about your team's not any good. What do we always go back, look for? Well, why are they bad? Oh, well, the GM's telling his players to show up on time, but this guy won't show up for shit. I understand you want to be a dad. I understand you want to be there for the birth of your son. Denny Green let us go and see the kid. And guess what? The next day I was back at work. Unless your wife or significant other, the mother of your child, is having significant health issues. Yeah. You don't need 2 weeks off. I'm sorry, buddy. You just don't. And even if you're there while she's asleep, and she's asleep, or your paternity leave, and whether it's in-laws that are there, you can answer an email. The business still runs. Now, no owner is going to sit back and say, dude, 3 days, you're a horse shit human being. You can't spend time with your family. Stop it. But he used paternity. He milked every ounce of paternity leave. And then, judging from all the other stuff, it tells me that paternity leave feels like for him it was just a vacation. You know what? That's by what I'm reading. So with all this, he had to be out. The Vikings will be better off for it. What has he done to prove to you that he deserved to keep the gig? He didn't. Period. And no coach on the planet is going to, not going to get interested in Rodgers. Oh, Sam Darnold led you to 14 wins. That doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen regularly. And I told you, Segs, I felt like it was O'Connell that had a different, that the quarterback met, as a guy who played it and knows it better than this cat does, that he should have understood. There's no way you turn down all those guys. Say, let's go with an untested rookie on a team that's got some Super Bowl caliber players on it. You wouldn't hire him to be a GM. The next person that hires this guy, judging from this, to be the GM, then you ought to fire the whole franchise and give it to somebody else. If this is the way he approaches his job, he is horseshit at his GM job and has zero business leading a franchise. Zero. And to answer your question about real quick, I don't want to let it go. I'm the jerk. B8Q is, do I think Vrabel and McDaniels have a little advantage going in? If there was a check mark, we said pros and cons. Yes, advantage, that part, Vrabel and McDaniels, because they've been in Super Bowls as coaches and as players, and in the biggest game. It does matter. Now, whether it's going to be the difference of the game, I don't know. But yes, you would give a experience advantage and a coaching advantage, having seen it all, to Mike and Josh going into this. Yet execution is going to end up being the most important part of it anyway. So, but in this case, the Vikings will be better off right off the bat by getting a general manager who's actually competent at showing up and doing the things he's supposed to do, if this stuff we're seeing is all true.
Yeah, just I mean, when I saw this list of stuff, I was just like, holy cow. The fact
I'm
he
a
was
better
there that
general
long.
manager than he is sitting in my office,
Yes.
period.
Yes.
Just by showing up.
You would be
Okay,
better
sorry,
off
it's not
letting
bragging, it's fact.
fans run polls on Twitter to make your decisions for your team than supposedly this guy
And
was.
listen, Pro Football Focus is good. They do a lot of good work.
Yeah.
They do. But if you're judging your future, and the fans are smart too. Not all of them, but a lot of them are pretty smart. But if you're making picks based on either social media or a group that sits in and they're watching tape and you can't watch it yourself and you're not coming up with your own judgment of it, even though Pro Football Focus does good work, you still got to do your due diligence. You don't deserve this job.
Yeah.
Period.
Just pathetic from Adolfo.
It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment and indictment on all GMs in a league because that's not how you do your job. You just can't survive that job like this. There's too much to do. There just is too much to do.
Way too much to do. All right, before we get out of here and do our bet of the day, we got word that the NFL for the upcoming season has projected the salary cap to come in between 201 and 205. Now, why is this significant? Or 301 and 305, excuse me, for millions of dollars. Why is this significant? It's a 21 to 25, $26 million jump from last season, which helps out a lot of teams. But Sean, it's up nearly $100 million in salary cap money just from 2022. That tells you the first of all, the money that's the NFL's coming into with all their media rights deals, all the, jersey sales, merchandising. I mean, all the deals that they make, the amount of money coming into this league is absurd. And the fact now that we're going to be over,
easy. Segs, if you're the NFL itself, but if you're an owner in the NFL, I don't think how can you find, is there a better investment? It's the only thing where you can fail and you can fail in the value of your company valuation goes up.
Yeah.
It goes up.
Bailey
5 years from now, the
chat,
Cowboys will sell for $25 billion if he ever wants to do it in 5 years.
In 1996. So when you would have been playing, right?
Yep. It was at the very end of my career.
Okay. The salary cap was $40.7 million. Now, how many players we have? What defensive ends making over $40 million? Quarterbacks have passed that by $20+ million in some cases. Most of them are making $10 million more than that if they get that big second contract. So, I mean, just the amount of money is crazy. But $100 million jump in the salary cap in just 4 years?
Well,
is incredible.
What's it going to be like 4 years from now, Sigs? And here's why we're headed, and we can discuss this. And I also want to discuss about this. NFL has now got an equity stake in ESPN.
Yes, 10%.
And tomorrow I wanted, and that 10% is worth billions in itself.
Huge.
The question is, and I'm not talking about individuals, I'm talking about overall. Can you, as a broadcaster and as the crossover to both, can you be objective properly with this? I want to discuss the buying. I mean, the NFL controlled the NFL network. Now ESPN controls the NFL network. They control the fantasy part of it and the red zone part of it. And there is some stuff to visit about this and wonders, are you going to be given honest? Remember again, it's a business and those billions, the NFL wants those billions to be successful and to turn into multiple billions, right? Segs with their 10% equity share. And if you're ESPN, you're like, this is a good gig, man. I'm pairing with what is it, the NFL and a team and the NFL, what a sound investment it is. You can go through all the woke stuff, you can go through all the COVID stuff, and the value of everything in the NFL continues to rise, including the rights to broadcast games and all that. So something we should discuss. But yeah, the salary cap's going through. That's why I truly believe, Segs, in the next, what are we at, 2026 by 2030? I don't know when the CBA or how we move the goalposts for everything else. So whenever you can move it, but I do believe that the NFL is going to have to, if you're going to keep up, because I don't know how they can. You're going to have to, with the way we're paying quarterbacks that end up being average and are making $55 million a year, we are going to have to it's going to have to be a standalone where the salary cap is not affected. The other 52 cats aren't affected by the quarterback. It's almost going to have to be a salary cap in its own, like a single entity by itself when it comes to salary cap. and then the salary cap, which you're talking about, to judge that. And the asterisk is going to be, but quarterbacks will fall into their own category. You're going to have to do that because we are literally a Josh Allen, or let's say Drake May turns into Josh Allen, dude, and he played, or Mahomes, right? Because he's the only reason I said he's young. Let's say he turns into that guy. What's he going to be worth in 5 years?
Yeah. I mean, he'll
$100 million a year, $85 million a year. Second year,
could technically sign the extension. I think next year he is extension L.
Yes,
I think it's after
the end
the
of 3 years.
if you're a first round pick.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, we'll start.
I mean,
hearing
think
those.
about it, Sage. We are pushing. You're going to see in the next 3 or 4 years a $75 million, 100% guaranteed a year quarterback. We already got the 100% guarantee with Watson, and he hasn't even been on the field for much. So lately. So how can you continue to survive this if your quarterback is not under? If your quarterback is under the same salary cap, it's going to get to the point where the 29th best quarterback in the league is making $45 million a year. How do you survive that?
Yeah,
you paying into what are you? Well, you're going to make a minimum wage at a we talk about 15, but when are they going to turn it where that's like saying, well, $75 an hour now we're paying minimum wage. We're paying the worst quarterback in the league $35, $40, $45 million.
Yeah, as
a starter. Which Joe Montana didn't make that in his damn playing career. I know times change, he adjust and adapt, but part of that is going to have, it's at least got to be put on the table that the quarterbacks are a standalone part of the salary cap, which I think is going to happen moving forward.
Yeah, so we got a lot to talk about. We'll talk about that ESPN NFL deal tomorrow. Some NFL people popped up in the Jeffrey Epstein files. We'll talk about that tomorrow as well. Talk about the
Washington just can't get out of their own way when it comes to ownership issues, correct?
Yeah, geez. I mean, how bad is that? Seattle Seahawks reportedly will be put up for sale after the Super Bowl next week. So, and there's talks that they could be sold for roughly $8 billion. So you talk about return on your investment and everything, and the way that it just
validates what we were talking about, Segs. Right.
$8 billion. And then you mentioned quarterback contracts, the money they're making. I saw over the weekend, I think it was ESPN, their prediction for CJ Stroud in the Houston Texans contract extension. That's something that I think we can talk about.
We both said he's going to get the pay. He's going to get paid, even though they're going to overpay him by a lot.
Yeah.
It's going to happen, and you and I both know it.
We'll talk about that tomorrow. And then our bet of the day before we get out of here. Tonight we got another good college hoops game. We got number 11, Kansas, traveling to Texas Tech. Number 13, Texas Tech is a 4.5-point favorite with a 154.5 number. Darren Peterson is expected to play. This continues to be the weirdest season for a college basketball superstar. I mean, this kid might be the number one player in the country, and
he's a phenomenal player and a great scorer.
But man, again, this last game, he comes out in the second half and never comes back. And
I know
we see his agent talking to the assistant AD, and then he walks over to the head coach and says something. Something's not right there.
That was such an odd thing this weekend because I was tuned into it. Who doesn't want to see that? Because you have two of the phenomenal freshmen in the country, right, Sig?
Him and
weird.
It was against
weird situation.
BYU and AJ Dibansta, who's going to be a top 3 or 4 pick in this NBA
That's
draft.
more than likely the 1-2 pick along with Boozer in this year's draft.
Boozer will be there. Yep. So I mean, there's a lot of good players in this upcoming draft, but yeah, I'm just surprised Bill Self is basically letting this go on. I thought he'd finally stand up at some point and just be like, enough is enough. I know this kid might be the number one player in the country, but damn, when do you have some respect for your program and say, we're not going to let this kid hold us hostage anymore? Right. He wants to play in the first half. He shoots all the shots. He has no problem shooting when he's in there. And then all of a sudden, I got to go out because it was reported cramps is why he sat the second game. But he never went into the locker room, never had a trainer talking to him besides
second half was non-existent. You're exactly right. So who do you got? What you like?
I'm going to take, if Peterson plays the whole game, I'm taking Kansas. I think with him, he is that big of a difference maker. As annoying as this season has been with him, I think he's a difference maker. I know Texas Tech is really good with
Hell, if he plays healthy and is playing the whole
Yeah.
year, they may be a Final Four caliber team. They're good enough to. They are good enough to, and they have experience. The question is, there's a lot of the speculation bothers me. I like Kansas in the game as well. I think this is going to be a tough battle, though. If he's not, I would make the other choice. I would, Sags, but plays the whole game and gives you 30 plus 35 minutes of it or whatever. Give me Kansas.
All right. I know Kansas is your favorite team outside of Houston, so not shocked by that pick.
What a shock, right? Yeah. But I am a little bit bothered by what I saw this weekend.
For sure. I think you have to
just
be.
In that situation with your best player, there seems to be some discontent there, and that's bothersome, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So we got a lot of NFL to talk tomorrow. We do have some basketball if we have time, but obviously NFL with all the topics we have will come first. Talk about Draymond and his technical issue that he had over the weekend. Rick Barnes on his Tennessee team is just on a hilarious video that you have to see. And we have another player who wants to be the first guy that has played in NBA games go back to college. And he was a superstar freshman that was drafted pretty highly out of UCLA. So we can talk about all that tomorrow, plus all that NFL topics that we had. It's Super Bowl week, and we're going to start breaking down this game as well as we get closer and closer to the Seahawks and the Patriots battling it out in San Francisco that had an earthquake this morning, apparently. So crazy.
We have the memories. Remember the when Al Michaels called the baseball the World Series, and they had one with when what was it? Was it A's and Giants, or was that?
I want to say it was A's and Giants.
A's and Giants. Yeah, that was. I don't think they want anything to do with that. So let's hope that that earthquake we don't get any more of that up there in Northern California, and we get one hell of a rocking game on Sunday. That would be nice.
Yes, for sure. All right. Well, we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks to Bailey and Laura. As always, go to YouTube, like and subscribe at Unpaved Sean Salisbury. Follow him at Sean Unfiltered and myself at Adam G. Sager. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. Peace.
Unpaved Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
John Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.